One Australian family is absolutely thrilled tonight at news that an international team of scientists has made a major step forward in finding a cure for multiple sclerosis. Roy and Carol Langsford lost their daughter to the devastating disease, and it's partly through donations they've made that this research has been able to go ahead. As Natasha Johnson reports, the Langsford promised their daughter Trish that they'd save others from the terrible suffering she endured.
This is Trish Langsford as her family likes to remember her, a talented young cricketer who captained the Australian women's under-23 team. And this is what multiple sclerosis did to her just as her life was taking off.
Trish went from being a happy, vibrant young athlete with the world at her feet to not very many years later being in the nursing home, completely paralysed, being fed with a tube, 4-hourly morphine, and not being able to communicate. And it was just so sad.
Diagnosed at the age of 23 with an aggressive form of the neurological disease, Trish Langsford experienced a brutally rapid decline. No medical treatment could stem its advance, and 3 years later she was admitted to a nursing home. She languished there for 4 years, understanding everything but unable to speak a word. The few highlights were the unwavering love of her family and receiving the True Blue Award for a New South Wales cricketer who played with dedication, excellence and courage.
She resigned herself to the fact that she had it and she was going to be positive about it and beat it.
But she couldn't beat it, and Trish Langsford died in 2002 at the age of 30, setting her grief-stricken parents on a noble quest.
We told Trish at the time that we were going to find a cure somehow, and although we knew that it was never going to help her, that we had to do something, and that was our promise to Trish.
When you watch what Trish went through, and 4.5 years in that nursing home, it was so cruel that we just felt we wanted to save others from going through what Trish went through. And that's why we're passionate about doing it, because no one should have to go through that. No one.
And so began the Trish Foundation.
Hello, Trish Foundation, Roy speaking.
A charity run from the study of the Langsfords' modest home, charged with raising money for research into a cure or preventative treatment.
We're going for tickets, and can we get a couple out today?
Yeah, I can get them out in today's map.
Through balls, golf days and trivia nights, they've raised $2 million over 10 years for MS Research Australia. And now their investment is paying off in a spectacular way.
Lovely to see you. Roy, hi. This is one of the many days we look forward to, isn't it?
4 years ago, the Trish Foundation donated $200,000 in seed funding to immunologist Professor Graham Stewart and his team at Westmead Millennium Institute to join an enormous international consortium of 250 researchers in 15 countries who have achieved a major MS breakthrough.
It's a landmark for MS research. People often talk about the joy of science. This week it's very clear in my mind what the joy of science is.
In one of the largest human genetic studies ever undertaken, DNA blood samples were collected from 27,000 people, including 1,000 Australians with MS. By screening their DNA, researchers confirmed 57 genes associated with multiple sclerosis.
See those peaks? That to us is as beautiful as the Mona Lisa. That's a eureka moment. Each one of these genes is a window into what might cause the disease. So we now have a roadmap for scientists around the world to follow. We are moving closer and closer to the cause of MS. With the cause comes the cure.
The research was published in the prestigious scientific journal Nature, but Carol and Roy Langsford were among the first to receive the news.
I was just over the moon. I was just so thrilled.
The remarkable pattern of the genes has confirmed that it's a disease of the immune system and shown that the reason people get MS is due to subtle inherited differences in immune function, which make them more susceptible to environmental triggers.
We hope that the genes will lead to studies that will help us pin down the environmental factors. It tells us where the money lies in developing new treatments.
One of those environmental factors is increasingly looking like a lack of vitamin D, which comes mostly from the sun. 2 of the MS genes control the metabolism of vitamin D, which is important for the immune system.
There is an extremely strong case for a trial of giving people sizable doses of vitamin D from the time of their first episode of multiple sclerosis.
Professor Stewart has dedicated nearly 40 years to gene research, and lately the Langsfords have been an inspiration.
They're part of why I get up in the morning and do the things I do.
So dedicated are they to finding a cure, the Langsfords have even kept their daughter's hairbrush for future genetic research.
Let's have a toast to Graham Stewart
Professor Graham Stewart and his colleagues.
Fantastic.
But tonight there's much cause for celebration. There may be a place missing at this family dinner, but a scientific win eases a little the aching loss.
If help in this field is contributing to the finding of a cure for MS, then it'll be all worthwhile, and Trisha's life lost to MS won't be wasted.
And Roy and Carol Langsford certainly aren't stopping now. They're already planning their next fundraiser. Natasha Johnson reporting.